to know that something so close by, so horrible and horrendous is very scary.
Right now at 10, the man accused of killing a Cottage Grove mother is found dead. How the community is reacting after the tragic incident.
And putting parents at ease, the new app focused on student safety in Wanakee.
Plus, the deadline has now come and gone to get a real ID. How Wisconsin DMVs are preparing for those looking to get that star on their license. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight as we are live from our Madison studio. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. We begin with continuing coverage of the deadly crash in Cottage Grove that killed a local woman and injured her family members last week.
The man accused of hitting the family was facing 4 felony charges, including first-degree intentional homicide, but he died in the Dane County Jail on Tuesday, according to a source familiar with the situation. Today, community members tell our Ellie La Liberté the events have come as a complete shock.
I couldn't believe that right here, a few blocks away.
For residents like Judy Salk and Jillian Adams, who call Cottage Grove home,
It's devastating.
hearing that local chiropractor Cammie Hansen died after being hit by a car was shocking.
My children walk our dog that same route every single day. And to know that something so close by, so horrible and horrendous is very scary.
Cammie Hansen, her son, and husband were out on a walk when Jeffrey Andres allegedly hit the family with his car, killing Cammie and sending her son to the hospital. Later, court documents revealed that Hansen's son was accused of sensitive crimes involving Andres' child.
I didn't actually know the woman or the family, but still, it's, part of your family.
Residents like Judy and Jillian now working through the traumatic incident that left a mark on their community.
We are staying informed about what's happening and, having vigils with one another, with our families, and stopping by the crash site for moments of silence and to bring flowers.
I also spoke with dozens of other community members who didn't want to be on camera, but tell me what happened here came as a complete shock. Reporting in Cottage Grove, Ellie La Liberté, News 3 Now.
And News 3 Now also reached out to the Dane County Sheriff's Office regarding the in-custody death, but have yet to hear back.
New details are released tonight in the stabbing turned homicide at Monkey Shines Bar in Fitchburg. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office identified the victim as Myron D. Dunlap. And Fitchburg police tell us the suspect is Rodney Golden. Officers say Dunlap and Golden knew each other and that an altercation started in the bar and led to the parking lot.
That disturbance continued into the parking lot and ended with a 39-year-old man receiving what would become fatal stab wounds. A search warrant was executed at the residence in Sun Prairie, and a rifle and nearly 500 grams of fentanyl were recovered. Investigators are now looking into the source of the firearm and narcotics.
Fitchburg police say the investigation is ongoing. We will keep you updated as we gather more information both on air here and online at channel3000.com.
Some patchy frost could be possible tonight as a cool down comes to the Madison region.
Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington is out on the weather patio live on Madison's southwest side with the details.
Sarah, Eric, southern Wisconsin. You can't see with the trees right here behind me. If you had a view just a little bit higher up, they are moving up there because we've got those strong east-northeast winds bringing in cooler temperatures into southern Wisconsin. Let's take a look right now what we're expecting for overnight low temperatures tonight. Areas up towards the Dells, north up towards Juneau, Adams, Marquette, and Green Lake counties. You're going to sneak into the upper 30s as we hit daybreak on Thursday morning. Madison and areas south, 40 to 45. If there's any patchy frost tonight, the combination of the winds and temperatures around 40, it's probably going to be towards the north, towards Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake counties. If you haven't pulled in those tender plants, you might want to consider it. Tonight, areas north again of the Dells. But then it's everyone as part of the 3 things you need to know for Thursday night for reasons we'll get into when we get into Maine weather. But I just want to let everyone know this is a brief blip in the thermometer, as I've been saying. By the time we get to the weekend, we'll be turning mild again with temperatures soaring. Right now, we've got 52 in Madison, 50 to the east, still hanging on to 60 to the west by the Mississippi River, where this backdoor cold front hasn't quite made it its full oomph all the way to the west. We've got 51 up to the northeast in Sun Prairie and 55. A lot of tide spots out in the western part of Dane County. Coming up in Maine weather, we're going to discuss the ingredients for frost formation, and I'll show you just how cold your neighborhood may be come Friday morning, and the latest on precipitation chances going all the way out to 10 days. That's coming up.
Sounds good. Thank you, Alex. Families in the Waunakee Community School District will soon be introduced to an app that will allow them to track their students' school bus.
It's the latest community district to implement the technology, and our Maddie Heimsch brings us the details.
Whether they're waiting for pickup in the morning or drop off in the afternoon, the new app would allow parents to log on and track their students' bus in real time.
It will give them peace of mind in terms of students going to and from school.
Waunakee Community School District Superintendent Dr. Monica Kelsey Brown says that peace of mind is the ultimate goal for implementing the MyRide K-12 app, along with other safety upgrades.
Especially for our littles in particular, right, where parents can know and understand when the bus is arriving to pick our students up, dropping them off at the school building.
Dr. Kelsey Brown says in her 9 months at the district, there's been one instance in which a bus didn't end its route at the right school.
Is it pervasive? I would say no, but one is too many.
Parents I caught up with at their bus stop say they're looking forward to the addition.
Even putting him on the bus by himself makes me nervous.
Having the app would enable us to better be prepared.
Both for added safety and hopefully some added warmth during the winter months.
It would be nice in those instances to know if they're just running late so we can watch and see when they're on their way to us, and then we can be outside on time without having to freeze in the winter.
The district tells me the app will not track individual students, but each bus is also set for upgrades to its internal and external security cameras.
Just as we jump in our cars and drive and we activate our own GPS systems that takes us from one point to the next. It's very similar in nature and just helping us all understand where our children are.
The cost of the new technology is yet to be determined. It'll depend if the school district or the bus company makes the purchase. Reporting in Waunakee, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
And the new technology was voted on by the Waunakee School Board. It'll be available to families next school year.
Companies selling aquatic animals based out of North Carolina and Indiana have been cited for shipping an invasive species to Wisconsin. The DNR says Carolina Biological Shipping as well as Aquatic Arts LLC are pleading no contest to more than a dozen counts of transportation of an illegal invasive crayfish species. Officials say the companies were warned about the risks 2 years ago, but continue to do so.
A woman is arrested for allegedly making threats toward Wapana Correctional Institution employees. Trina Brown facing several tentative charges, including stalking and making terroristic threats. Dodge County Sheriff's Office says a search warrant was conducted in Milwaukee earlier this week and found evidence of the 32-year-old's alleged criminal activity. Police say Brown called and sent emails to victims that were harassing and threatening in nature, causing disruptions at the prison. Congressman Derek Van Orden is rescheduling a virtual town hall after he says threats were made against his family. According to his staff, a letter was delivered to his D.C. office containing a credible threat made against his wife, children, and grandchildren. Details of the threats have not yet been shared. Van Orden has come under fire from Democrats for not holding in-person town halls. His office blames the alleged threat on, quote, radical and violent rhetoric from the far left.
The pressure of the trade war between the U.S. and China could soon lead to talks to end the tariffs. For the first time since the standoff began, the countries are preparing to engage in trade talks beginning this weekend. A former State Department division chief says the president's sweeping tariffs have isolated China.
All these other countries are negotiating with the United States, but not them. They're the holdout, and I don't think they want to be in that position.
The Treasury Secretary says the first deals with other trade partners could be announced as soon as this week.
The Federal Reserve held interest rates steady today. The Fed's pause on lowering interest rates started back in January. Economists say the Fed is caught in a wait-and-see approach, and the next round of economic data should swing it one way or the other. That would provide a better read on the impact of the president's tariff policies. New bipartisan legislation in Congress could end the production of the penny. Experts estimate there are about $7 worth of pennies in circulation for every American, and it costs nearly 4 cents just to produce 1 penny. If the penny is killed, experts believe the U.S. would follow in the footsteps of Canada by rounding a cash transaction to the nearest nickel. Well, the Department of Health and Human Services unveiled a pilot program to tap into Medicare and Medicaid data in its search for the root cause of autism. HHS said the database will draw from insurance claims, medical records, and data from wearable technology. Now, the Autism Science Foundation says this raises some red flags and questions about privacy.
Well, having a real ID is now required in order to fly in the U.S. However, the Department of Homeland Security says you can fly without a real ID or passport. It would just mean you have to go through additional security at the airport. Madison's Southwest DMV increased staffing over the past couple of weeks to deal with the influx of people applying.
You can start your application online. You can even schedule an appointment, so you don't need to wait in this line.
If your current driver's license or ID does not expire before 2025, you can get a real ID version for the cost of a duplicate, $14. A complete renewal costs $34.
Still to come on News 3 Now at 10, tensions escalate between India and Pakistan.
Plus, the conclave is underway. What Catholics here in Madison and around the world are looking for in the next pope.
Vatican, of course, this week as Catholics wait for the white smoke to rise in St. Peter's Square.
Reporter Bradley Blackburn is at the Vatican and brings us the latest.
Black smoke rose over St. Peter's Square late Wednesday, signaling the cardinals were unsuccessful in selecting a new pope.
We expected black smoke tonight, but we expected it a lot earlier. At the last conclave, the smoke appeared around 7:30 in the evening. This was an hour and a half later.
Earlier in the day, in rituals going back centuries, the 133 voting cardinals entered the Sistine Chapel, each taking an oath of secrecy. The dean of the College of Cardinals reminded them to set aside personal opinions and elect a pope who can see unity in diversity. Then the doors to the historic chapel closed, marking the official start of the conclave. The cardinals have surrendered their phones and cut off communication with the outside world other than that smoke. The eligible cardinals, each under the age of 80, will now cast up to 4 ballots a day until they reach a 2/3 consensus. The cardinals gathered in the Sistine Chapel come from 70 countries. Pope Francis appointed 4 out of 5 eligible to vote, or 80% of them. A new CBS News poll of U.S. Catholics shows more than 3/4 of those surveyed are in favor of the direction Pope Francis led the Catholic Church. More than 1/3 hope the next pontiff will be more conservative than Pope Francis, while 21% want someone more progressive. What are you hoping for in a new pope?
A holy man. Hopefully somebody that is a pragmatist and somewhat conservative.
We're just so divided as a world. So it would be nice to just have someone with a lot of love.
Recent conclaves have gone relatively quickly. The last 3 popes were elected in 2 or 3 days. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, the Vatican.
And when a new pope is eventually elected, he will be shown into a small room next to the Sistine Chapel. There, he will be fitted with his new papal robes before being introduced to the public. We will bring you the very latest on the conclave and who has been elected pope, both here and online, channel3000.com.
Many have varying opinions on who should be the next pope, and young people here in Madison are no exception. Some Catholic students on the UW campus say they'd like to see people less divided along political lines and more so focused on the future of the church.
And those things are important, right? There is a moral side to the gospel. But in the end, what really matters is that people fall in love with the gospel, and those other issues will take care of themselves.
I would like to see more traditional, but it's still keeping the heart of the church sound. But at the end of the day, it's Jesus' church.
And for the next 4 days, Cardinals will conduct up to 4 rounds of voting a day until they find a successor for Pope Francis. We'll cool down tonight, but there's potential for 80-degree weather in the forecast.
Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us now with when we will see that kind of warmth.
Indeed, yes, just about 48 hours of the cool stuff, and then we're right back to the warm stuff. And speaking of cool stuff, I don't show this map too often, but I do when it helps to tell the story. We are 10 to 15 degrees colder right now than where we were at this point last night because that backdoor cold front has swept in from the east. Temperatures are now 52 in Madison, still hanging on to 60 over portions of the Mississippi River, where that cool air just hasn't quite made it all the way to the west just yet. But we will cool down tonight, and we have frost possible north of Madison, north of the Dells tonight. We all stand the chance of seeing some frost Thursday night, and then that mild weekend will have that return of the really warm stuff. Let's get into the frost potential. Tonight, it's low to unlikely, but it is possible as we go into Thursday night, into Friday morning, and then we'll warm up and that frost chance goes away. Here's ingredients you need for frost. A clear night, calm winds, and then that spells that frost potential, especially for open and low-lying areas like river valleys as an example. Now let's put this all together. Future track here showing nothing, no clouds as we go into Thursday morning at 6 o'clock. That's ingredient number 1. As we go through the day and then go all the way into Friday morning, let's see if that ingredient sticks around. Clear skies. We still have that same ingredient on Friday morning. But what's different tonight from Friday morning is gusty winds. We'll have gusty winds Thursday morning. That can help keep frost from not forming. So the chance is lower tonight. But look as we go into Friday morning, calm winds, low wind gusts as we go into Friday morning. So we have both of those ingredients Friday morning, and that's why we have that greater chance of frost on Friday morning. Still can't rule it out. Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake counties. You might want to pull in those tender plants tonight just to err on the safe side as we go into Thursday. Highs of 63 in Madison, upper 60s to the west. Then the mercury goes down into the lower to middle 30s, maybe some upper 30s, but that's right at that critical junction Friday morning that will likely have patchy frost across the entire area. Then we warm up. 77 on Mom's Day, sunny, mild. Winds will be on the light side, and then here we go. We're going to get pampered again. Temperatures upper 70s to right around 80 degrees. Said earlier in the 6 o'clock newscast, let's talk about the likelihood of this warm stuff sticking around into May. That is going to be there for a good portion of the United States, including southern Wisconsin. Raindrop chances start to increase as we get a little bit further out into May. So that's good news because we're going to need to start adding some drops to the ground if we're going to have a prolonged period of dry weather. And that 10-day forecast, first to let you know, looks like anywhere from a ½ inch to an inch potential over the course of the next 10 days. And that really kicks in behind me here. Wednesday night going into Thursday, going into Friday. It looks like a weather system is going to make its way into the upper Midwest, including southern Wisconsin. Just looking at some weather models, Sarah and Eric, and we could have some strong storms Wednesday evening and then again on Thursday. And we'll keep a close eye on that. We'll be first to let folks know if we're expecting maybe alert day conditions at that time.
Well, you get the warm up going.
Yep.
It's a little more volatile in the atmosphere,
Indeed,
so something to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
We will.
We'll take it, though.
Yes.
Thank you, Alex.
Zach?
And coming up in sports, Badgers softball looking for some revenge in the Big Ten tournament. Would their late inning home runs be enough? Find out next on News 3 Now. Jordan Love was back in Titletown this morning, but not to talk about football. Instead, softball was on his mind as he's the host of this year's annual Green Bay Charity Softball Game. And this one is a big one as it's the 25th anniversary of the game. Now, the money raised will benefit Love's Hands of Love Foundation. And after co-hosting it with Donald Driver last year, Packers QB1 is flying solo this time around, and he couldn't be more excited about it.
Obviously, the game's been going on for a long time, so to be able to, take the torch and kind of just carry it and keep it going, it's pretty cool. The biggest thing from Donald is just seeing the energy he brings out there. He's out there interacting with the fans the whole day, and obviously hosting it is really trying to get as many players out there as possible. So that's going to be the fun part.
The softball game is slated for May 23rd at Fox City Stadium. Before that, though, next week the Packers will find out their schedule for next season. And we'll break it down a week from tonight. Well, after losing 2 receivers to the transfer portal this spring, the Badgers got one back today with the addition of Dekel Crowdis. The 5'11", 170-pound wideout comes to Wisconsin after 1 year at Hawaii, where he caught 16 passes for 402 yards and 4 touchdowns. Before Hawaii, he spent 3 seasons at Kentucky. Last season, Wisconsin softball was the Cinderella of the Big Ten tournament, advancing all the way to the semifinals as a double-digit seed. Their run ended at the hands of Michigan, who just so happens to be this year's first-round opponent. Badgers looking to avenge that loss from a season ago, down 2-0 in the 5th. And Olivia Bark shows why she's a member of the Badger Bomb Squad. Her solo shot cuts the lead in half, but it wouldn't be enough. Wisconsin falls 3-2 the final. And the only thing better than a series win is a series sweep. Jackson Churio and the crew looking to bring out the brooms at AmFam Field. They're down 3-0 in the 5th, but Eric Haas makes it a 2-run game with one big swing. His solo homer, only bright spot for the crew. Brewers fall 9-1 the final. And after a 13-month process with 4 rounds of fan voting and over 850,000 votes, the Utah Hockey Club will now be known as the Utah Mammoth. In the franchise's first season in Salt Lake, the Hockey Club finished 38, 31, and 13. We're back after this.
Coming up on News 3 this morning, artificial intelligence is becoming more common, if not every day, in our lives. The morning team will look at the impact AI is having on parenting and what you can do about it and stay on top of it.
And Alex is back as we take one more check of the forecast, and maybe some areas will see some frost tonight.
Yeah, areas north up towards the Dells, Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake counties. If you're listening right now, maybe pull in those tender plants or throw those sheets out for tonight. All of southern Wisconsin be on guard. We got a good chance of patchy frost Thursday night going into Friday morning, and then we flip right into that warm stuff again. We'll turn mild by the weekend. The latest on your Mother's Day forecast here, 77 degrees. There'll be light winds, sunny skies, and temperatures staying in the upper 70s, right around 80 all the way really out through the next 10 days. Next chance for thunderstorms Wednesday night, Thursday going into Friday. We'll keep a close eye on that weather system. But if you take note here of the temperatures by day and the temperatures by night after these frosty conditions, that's June, July-like temperatures that we're going to get.
I love it. And for Mother's Day, we'll take
and for
it.
Mom,
just for you, Sarah. Coming, summer's coming early. Alex, thanks. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10.
See you tomorrow.